Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, is Zelina Vega set for a shock WWE return?
Are WWE planning on bringing back live events anytime soon?
Is Chris Jericho of AEW legitimately injured?
And the real reason Santana missed AEW Dynamite this week. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Right, so obviously, we're going to kick this video off by talking about Zelina Vega. Sensational, this. The reports emerged last night, courtesy of Fightful Select and Wrestling Inc., that Zelina Vega was at the WWE Performance Center recently filming stuff. What the hell is going on here? She only left the company 6 months ago, but there's all kinds of details here. Fightful Select have noted since then that Zelina was filming some kind of footage with Simone Johnson, who's The Rock's daughter, of course. Now, there's no word on whether or not that was linked into any plans they might have, or whether it was just supplemental, but it happened. Fightful Select also reports that this deal to bring Zelina Vega back, which appears to be the working plan, has been in the works for some time now. It actually ties in to a report from Marks that Dave Meltzer issued in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, stating that Vega had signed a contract somewhere that wasn't AEW, but would prevent her from working for other wrestling promotions, although it wasn't exactly clear whether or not it was a wrestling contract. So that doesn't necessarily mean that those two situations are linked, but you know, these things are all just part of a bigger picture here. So it's a very interesting situation given the nature of Zelina Vega's WWE departure. She left because she refused to adhere to the third-party platform restrictions, of course. Breach of contract was the official reason given for her WWE release, but she was let go in November. Her non-compete clause expired in February. No sign of her anywhere in wrestling since then, but now that we know that she's been at the Performance Center and with this report that a return is part of the plan, seemingly, it's very interesting. I'm excited to see what she does if she is going back to WWE. She's very talented, and it was a really sucky, horrible, nasty departure. So it's good to see her back in pro wrestling, for sure, if that's where this is leading. I'm also interested to know what this might mean for that third-party streaming policy that WWE implemented, because that was a sticking point, and it was reported at the time that Zelina Vega might actually have been earning more money from things like Twitch than she was on her WWE contract. So because that was such an issue before, it'll be interesting to learn if details regarding that, or if whatever was causing the problems has been ironed out and agreed to and everything else. Either way, it's just good to see a talented person back in pro wrestling, regardless of where she's going and where she's performing and everything else. And I hope this does materialize as a full-on return, because we miss her on screen. She was great in her role on WWE television, and she definitely deserves another shake of the stick.
Absolutely, a fascinating development, this. Like you say, I mean, she's so talented. It was exciting to speculate on where she was going to end up. A lot of people suggesting she may go with Andrade or she may pop up in AEW, but looks like she's returning to WWE. Yeah. Like you say, that whole third-party thing, which is a load of bollocks, WWE. Just let them do what they want. How does this affect you and why does it matter? You're making money hand over fist anyway. Interesting to find out more details about that if we ever do, in fact. But yeah, back in WWE, whether she's doing stuff with Simone Johnson, whether she's doing stuff with her other half. Hopefully now Aleister Black won't be, he's not been getting punishment booked. He's just not been getting booked, basically. He's been hiding in a cupboard reading a book, is the best way I can describe it. And he bought some glasses. But yeah, I think she's one of the best managers around, and obviously she's been talented in ring and getting better. So very, very interesting to see where it goes next. But yeah, I did not see this one coming. And speaking of things you may not see coming, WWE are apparently planning on holding ticketed live events. They're coming back, lads, in mid-July. This is according to Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast, one of the best wrestling podcasts out there that isn't ours, of course. And he was talking about the fact that over a short period of time, that being I think the 16th to the 19th of July, they are planning on doing ticketed live events. So that in theory should cover SmackDown on the 16th of July, the Extreme Rules pay-per-view on the Sunday of that weekend, and the Raw immediately afterwards. We've been speculating on this for a while, Andy. Obviously, restrictions are changing, not just in America, but all over the globe. Vaccinations are hopefully making things a lot more safe. Stay safe, wear a mask, all the usual stuff here. But you sort of knew this was coming with AEW mentioning live events, eh?
Yeah, so we don't know for sure that we're gonna have SmackDown and Extreme Rules and Raw with attended fans, or if these will just be like, you know, random shows somewhere in Texas or Florida, presumably, because that's where the restrictions are the most relaxed. But yeah, it's WWE's roadmap back to normality, it seems now. We should mention as well that the Mat Men podcast actually broke the NXT to Tuesday night story as well. So they've got a recent track record on things like this. It's what we talked about the other day. Like you say, when one promotion started announcing dates, it was inevitable that the other one would. The floodgates open up. AEW is going to have a full house, or wants to have a full house, for Double or Nothing this month. Yeah. And then they're going back on the road in July. The world is returning to normal. Vaccines are rolling out. Things are getting safer and safer and safer. There's always going to be a little bit of anxiety, you know, when it comes to bringing these things back. And we've expressed that through our coverage of these situations, wondering about the health situation and everything else. But you look at the recent UFC event, which didn't appear to be a super spreader, even though, you know, there was 15,000 people packed inside. Things are opening up again, man, and those concerns are valid, 100%. Yeah. They're at the front of my mind every time we hear a story like this. But it does feel good at the same time, just to know that things are moving in the right direction once again.
Yeah, as we always say, you know, I was watching randomly Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls from New York last night, and the pop when Gargano wins, I was like, yep, straight in the main vein with that one. I obviously would love fans back tomorrow. I'd love them back for WrestleMania Backlash this weekend, but gotta slowly do it. It's surreal. Yeah, I still find it weird. Like, a mate of mine's going to the FA Cup final this weekend. It's slowly getting there. But that doesn't mean we should just drop everything. As Andy said, just please stay safe, because we're so close.
Look after yourselves. Don't mess it up at the very last straight of the journey. News here from AEW Dynamite this week. Chris Jericho, did you see that massive strap doodah thing he had on his arm? That's legit. Chris Jericho is actually hurt. A report here from friend of the channel, Brian Alvarez, on Wrestling Observer Live, talking about this, saying that when he took the fall from the top of the Blood and Guts cage, he was actually injured. It's some kind of arm injury, potentially a fracture. The nature of it hasn't been fully disclosed, however. So yeah, Jericho was wearing that thing for good reason. There's no word on how much time, if any, he will be made to miss. But the what was it they called it on Dynamite? A dislocated elbow. That sounds horrible. Like that sounds horrible. So he's banged up, he's hurt. Now the interesting part of this is that he was challenged to a Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing at the end of the month by MJF on this week's episode of Dynamite, with the bubbly bath and everything else. That's the kind of match you could probably protect such an injury in, because it's cinematic and everything else. But we'll bring you further updates on this situation as they come through. For now, however, Chris Jericho got himself a sore arm there.
Yeah, get well soon, mate. I was reading on at WhatCulture.com 10 things we learned from the Talk is Jericho, talking all about blood and guts. And yeah, makes sense that he didn't practice that bump, because he could have injured himself before the match even happened. But yeah, like you say, but awful news when anyone gets injured. But if there ever was a good time to get injured, it's probably now, when he can sell the injury IRL as an injury from blood and guts. And like you say, the next match he's got coming up, a nice bit of camera trickery. I mean, if they can do it with Sting, they can certainly do it with a hurty elbow Chris Jericho. And finally, one final word on AEW Dynamite. Santana, of course, was missing from everything Inner Circle related this week. MJF said it was because he stabbed him in the head with a fork, and he was arrested, and he should have been. That's not right to do stuff like that, guys. But according to Dave Meltzer for Wrestling Observer Radio, it's actually a minor illness that Santana is suffering from. Normally, he said that they would probably just allow him to, you know, still be in and around AEW Dynamite, and maybe even still pop up. But due to the, you know, COVID restrictions and just, you know, worries about everything with the ongoing global pandemic, they just thought they'd play it safe and keep him off TV. You know, he wasn't essential to stand there whilst they spray champagne on everyone. But no word on his sickness or when he'll return to television. But the sounds of a minor illness would suggest he should be fine. And in the next few weeks, we'll see him back on TV, Andy.
Yeah, hope he's doing well, hope he's recovering well. Best to be safe in situations like this, 100%. You know, even if it's not necessarily what's currently ravaging the planet, or was ravaging the planet. We're getting better now. always be safe, man, when health and everything else is concerned. And I love Santana. I love Santana and Ortiz, and I'm looking forward to seeing them back on TV kicking ass before long.
Yes, exactly. Right, so move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Danny Navarro, who says, lads, in a perfect world where you guys will be able to go to this event one day, with the event being the Double or Nothing Fan Fest, of course, who would be the one person you would stand in line for first?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a man who really values a firm handshake. So I'm going to try and seek out the person in that room who looks like they have the firmest handshake. I've got it down to 3 people.
Okay.
And you can let me know in the comments section which of these 3 would give the firmest handshake in AEW. Eddie Kingston, I bet he's got a firm handshake. John Moxley, and The Butcher. Let me know in the comment section below. Just, you cannot underestimate the value of a good handshake, I feel.
No, exactly. You cannot fail. All right, I'll go with my best friend MJF, my best friend Chris Jericho, and no, I'll go Anthony Ogogo because I love what he's doing at the moment. I'd like to personally say, well done, mate, and take a free shot. Come on, let's slug it out. Let's not. He literally snapped me like a sodding twig. Second question today, I thought you'd like this one, Andy, comes from Cole Coon, who says, hey guys, really dig the new studio. Thanks, Cole Kane.
Thank you.
Quick question. He's lit it today as well. Quick question. Who do you see potentially being revealed as Jade Cargill's manager? I feel Paul White could play that role. It could be a cool way to bring him into the mix. Or Mickey James.
Interesting. Honestly, I have no idea where this thing is heading. That said, of all the fits in AEW, I think the best fit for her as a manager would be if Jade Cargill joined Team Taz.
Oh, yes, please. I've actually got the answer for this. We've been talking about it, myself and the Dudley boys, for quite some time. I think Jade Cargill's manager is going to be revealed as Thea Trinidad. Not up to much at the moment, and definitely could see that being possible, unless, I don't know, she decided to return to being Zelina Vega and went back to WWE. Plans booking now, innit? I know. Right, final question today comes from Biggest Joe, who says, hi guys, I read one of your articles on wasted talent at WWE, and to be honest, the list is a lot wider than reported. Oh yes, Joe.
Yes.
When Vince does step down, could you see a complete overhaul of the writing system to best utilize talent, or will they still waste away what they've got?
I don't think there will be any wholesale changes to WWE and anything that company really does when Vince McMahon steps away. I know I don't like pouring cold water in everyone's hopes, and I know Triple H is kind of seen as this savior figure and everything else when he potentially ascends to power. But my mind always goes to this. Who is the one person that that Triple H has learned everything he knows about running a pro wrestling promotion from? It's his father-in-law. So I don't see any wide-scale changes. Nick Khan recently said it. WWE is not necessarily a wrestling promotion. WWE is a media company. It's a content company. So I don't know if we'll ever go back to seeing traditional pro wrestling kind of coming into play there. Not to be a big, pissing on your parade kind of dude. But no, the answer is no.
Yeah, I think it will improve, don't get me wrong, but I've got to agree with you, Andy, despite the eternal optimism that flows through me via Simon Miller. I've had my fingers burnt on this so many times. I sit there and think, when fans come back, Raw will get good again. Nah. I thought about that when, the Summer of Punk, when you were doing all the weird twists and turns. I was like, don't worry, they're going somewhere with this. They weren't. They were just ruining it, basically. And, when Vince does step down or whatever happens, to allow someone else to take control of WWE, like you say, I think this is now baked into the product. I think it will get better, because it's not got to go through a bonkers 70-odd-year-old bloke, but it'll take a long time if they are going to change it, and I don't know whether they will. It'll take a long time to change. It's not going to suddenly become NXT TakeOver every single Monday and Friday night, for example. So we'll wait and see, though. Fingers crossed. Keep the faith, he says, trying to convince himself and the viewers. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and shout out to Jake on Twitter. We were talking the other day about random music that we could, get the rights to and use for wrestlers. And Jake got in touch with us on Twitter to suggest our songs, Andy Murray. Did you see this?
I did not see this.
Jake said, if we're getting licensed entrance music, give Andy Down with the Sickness, because Jake stands for Wah!
I did see this, actually. Yeah. What's your best Disturbed impression? Go and do that again for the audience, please. That was great.
Oh, sorry, mate. He's not done Retribution for ages.
It's really tough. What's your favourite Disturbed song? Is it that one?
I mean, I don't really know any others, if I'm perfectly honest.
Hi, I'm Andy Murray, and welcome to the Every Disturbed Song ranked from best to worst. We're going to start with the worst one. Prayer, I guess. Let's stop talking about. Let's wrap this crap show up. Come on.
I used to interview boy bands before I did this as a job. It really wasn't Disturbed. And he also said, give Adam Wilborn the Channel 4 news theme from Anchorman because, well, this is the news. Good work, Jake. Let us know in the comments who everyone else on WhatCulture, what their music should be. And we'll pass that along to them. That's going to be fun. But let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Got the SmackDown preview later, and of course, Wrestle Culture with a bloody good quiz. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray
at Andy H Murray. The H, of course, stands for. That's so hard. Gee, how does he do that professionally?
Have you ever seen that clip of the bloke doing it at karaoke?
I have not, no.
Go and look at it how bright you're doing. Follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon. Oh, wow!
Ooh, ah.